Hi everyone, so this is a quick programming session on nested classes, and here I've already got an outer class.java and a test.java created. The test class is empty right now, and let me just do a private static int x equals 5 and a public class inner class which has just one public method, public void method, and I'll just make this to a system.out.println um, x equals x, and in my test class, let me just do an outer class, outer equals new outer class. And I told you how to create an object of the inner class type in the last video, the theory session on nested classes. So it goes something like outer class dot inner class, inner equals outer dot new inner class. And I've created an object, and let me just call the method. So inner dot method, and let's see what this does. Java C test.java and Java test. So it prints x equals 5. What I've showed you just now is that the inner class can actually access private variables of the outer class. And let's just do something else here. Let's do a private static int x equals 10 and private static int y equals 2, and let's create a method for the outer class, um, and the method would be public um, void outer method, and I'll just do a system dot out dot println y equals y, and let's just try our code now. So java c test.java, sorry, java c test.java. Now what it says is illegal static declaration in inner class this. um, Static is only allowed in constant variable declarations. So the reason behind that is that we are not allowed to use static variables inside of inner classes, and that's kind of because of the purpose of the inner classes being set like that. Um, for now, let's just assume that that's something that's not allowed. So I'll remove this static from here, and now let's test our code again. So I'll do java c test.java, and it says cannot find symbol. Why? The reason is that y is inside the inner class. So what I wanted to demonstrate was that the outer class does not have direct access to variables in the inner class. And another thing that I want to show you here is, let's say I do inner x here, and I'll just write outer x here, and this is plus x, and here I'll also call outer dot um, outer method, and let's just do it now, and java test. Now what happened is the inner x got printed as 10 and the outer x got printed as 5. So this is a typical case of variable shadowing. So this x right here, whose value is 10, just shadowed the x in the outer class. So earlier, since there was no x, the x here was just referring to the x in the outer class. But now we have an x with a more local scope, a smaller scope, so that shadows the outer variable. So that's another thing that I wanted to show. And one last thing that I want to show you is that I can also have nested interfaces. So I can do something like public interface, um, inner interface. So interfaces which are nested inside of classes or other interfaces, even that's possible. Those interfaces are called inner interfaces or nested interfaces. So here I can have something like a public void interface method, let's say, and uh, the nesting of interfaces isn't really very useful in a lot of cases. Uh, the reason it's primarily used is to avoid name collisions. So let's say I'm going to have multiple uh, multiple classes with same names or something like that. I would group all my interfaces and put them inside one class. So I could create a class and then put all my interfaces inside of it. And I won't really implement this interface, but the way to do it is to do something like class implementation, let's say IMPL, extends outer class dot inner interface. So that's how I would implement this interface. And actually I could just do it here, public void interface method, and I could do something like a system.out.println. Let me just skip that, but I just wanted to show that that's also possible, and the way I extended it was something like this. So let's say I have multiple interfaces with the same name. I could have an interface in different classes, so I can have a car wheel interface and a bicycle wheel interface, and I could call them both wheel. In that case, if we don't group them inside a car class or a bicycle class, extending it might be a trouble because it becomes ambiguous as to which interface we are trying to extend. And in that case, it would be easy to do something like car.wheel. So class wheel IMPL extends car.wheel. So that's how you would extend the wheel interface inside the car class. So that's where nested interfaces are useful. But I just wanted to point out that nesting is also possible in case of interfaces. I think this is it about nesting of interfaces and nested classes in general. Next time, I think I'll be starting with exception handling, I think. So I'll see you in the next video.